Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Attention husbands. Here is a slogan that I think we are all guilty of. If I say I will do it, I will do it. There is no need for you to remind me every 6 months. Morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. Followed by a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Call in on this Thursday, October 25th. Good morning. And a good morning to you out there in Radio Land. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, with, of course, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and a great big fall tire sale going on right now. And also some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
My friend.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I don't have a lot of time to talk about it right now, but a very interesting and I don't know what to call the photo I got in the email, but oh boy.
Well, just have fun with it at lunchtime.
I will, my friend. Thank you for calling in. Appreciate it. And with that being said, we're going to go right to the weather forecast. And the weather brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Heyburn, right there on the Burley Paul Highway. And the number to call, 678-3122. They have the rental of the best of tools and equipment. And don't forget, they've got all the tillers. You know, you're going to be ripping up those gardens real soon, I hope, before the ground freezes. And, of course, all the air compressors to blow out the sprinkler lines, everything. Roger and the crew at K&R Rental. And, of course, that's right on the Burley Paul Highway, 678-3122. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Another beautiful day here in the valley as we are making our way through the work week. Here's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Expecting sunny skies for today, a little on the breezy side, winds out of the west, right around 10 miles an hour. We could expect gusts as high as 23 miles an hour, high of 61 is what we're looking at for today. Tonight, mostly clear. The winds are going to be dying down, low of 40. Tomorrow, another gorgeous one, sunny skies, expecting a high of 68 with an overnight low of 44. Sunny and 66 for Saturday, back up to 68 for Sunday. And as we go back to week on Monday, clouds are going to be rolling in, and we're expecting a high of 55. That's a look at your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. And, of course, feel free to contact K&R Rental anytime, all the time. They get there early in the morning at 7 a.m., and they can give you all the information you need about available tools and equipment right there at K&R Rental, and they're located on the Burley Paul Highway, 678-3122. Merv May, come on in here. Let's sell some cattle. Come on in.
All right, hey, good set of steer calves there. Here to get $31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.5.
Oh, that's the chant of the world's best doggone auctioneer, and that's Merv May over at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. And, of course, at 10 a.m. this morning, great big sale. Let me tell you, it's going to be a dandy sale. And I urge you to get on down there and be a part of it. 10 a.m. this morning for Burley Livestock Sale Yard. And the big sale at 10. And here's some of the great cattle going through the ring today. Galen Jabauer is bringing in 20 head of calves from over in the Paul area. Good morning, Galen. How are you? Ron Jones up at Richfield, 60 head of calves coming into the ring today. The brackets out at Three Creek are hauling in 40 head of yearling heifers. Joe Tate out at Asequa's bringing in 40 head of ripping good steers, 750 pounders. Lucky Born over to Rupert, 50 head of calves coming into the ring. And Marty Toll of Paul bringing in 60 head of calves. We're going to have butcher cows coming in from, of course, Antelope Hills Dairy, Acme Dairy, Funk Dairy, and P-Bar S Dairy. All of this and much more starting at 10 o'clock this morning at Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley, 678-9411. The sale that works for you. Merv, sell those steers.
All right, a good set of steer calves there. Here to get $31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.5, 134, 4.5, 5.5, 130, 550, 135, and $7.35. Zeb Mel, get the bottom again.
Thank you, Merv. Today is the day. Yes, it is going to be our lunch bunch at Denny's restaurant. And I think a lot of people have gone way overboard, and I think it's great in their costume planning and everything. It's a costume contest for Halloween today at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. And like I said the other day, I would like to just be sitting out in a car this morning and watching the people file in and go into lunch bunch. It's going to be a circus. I think it's going to be great. And we urge you to be there at 11:30 this morning for Denny's Restaurant, Zeb's Lunch Bunch, and, of course, the great food, super nice people. It's always a great affair. Starting at 11:30, and you're invited. By the way, we want to say also a big thank you to Stotz Equipment, your John Deere dealer, Vic, for donating a prize for one of the best costumes. And then, of course, Lee's Furniture, Jeff over there at 459 Overland in Burley. Lee's Furniture donating another prize. And my buddy Randy at, of course, Tires West Les Schwab. Another great prize for our Halloween contest and the best of costumes and masks. And also, we're going to have gift certificates that are going to be provided by Walmart, Smith's Foods, Hanson Mortuary, Stokes Grocery, Doug Martin, and Denny's. So don't miss it today at America's Diner. Denny's Restaurant, going to be a lot of fun. We also want to acknowledge some really good folks that have been with us on this program since the beginning, years and years and years ago, and that's Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. And the telephone number to call, 678-0459. They get there early in the morning at 7:30, stay there till 5, Monday through Friday, and it's no brag, it's a fact, all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. They know with the best of people serving you at Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley. Number to call, 678-0459. Ramsey Heating and Electric. I guess if you're not aware, you should be, that in the last 48 hours, there have been tremendous bomb scares on the East Coast, going all the way from Delaware down to Florida, to various personalities involved in the Democratic Party, liberal Democrats, with these bomb scares. And the whole situation completely out of hand and out of mouth right now. Too many people have jumped in, shot their mouth off, and they've let their BB gun brain overrun their shotgun mouth to the point where there's been accusations leveled at people for doing this or causing this, and like I said, it has got completely out of hand. These package bombs were received at addresses of liberal Democrats like the Clintons, Robert De Niro, George Soros, CNN News, Andrew Cuomo, Joe Biden, and others. And this whole thing is where we are in today's divisive politics. That's it. That's where we are. It's shameful and it's pitiful. All the speculation on who and why is absolutely a 6-letter word. Stupid. absolutely stupid to make guessing games until people know the facts. Now, nobody knows who has done this yet. There may be an assumption of this while I'm on the air, and it may come over the wire services, and it may come over the network news, and we will give that to you if we get that information. I think it's going to be a process of really going through each and every bundle, if you will, every package, finding whether there's DNA, fingerprints, whatever the case might be. But to make accusations and say, you did this and you're responsible for that, those people should have duct tape put over their mouth. It's shameful and stupid for finger pointing at this time. Now, there has been a lot of finger pointing and condemnation. And some of the remarks that I've read are absolutely despicable, most of which I'm not going to read on the air this morning. And this partisan politics over this entire mess over the last couple of years has got completely out of hand. And I would like to make an appeal to both parties, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. Clean up your act. Clean up your act. If there's somebody shooting their mouth off unwarranted, tell them to go sit in the corner and not open their mouth again. This has got to stop. As a matter of fact, even the news media like MSNBC, Joe Scarborough coming out and just plain dumb, he blamed President Trump. Just plain dumb. This has got to stop. Caller, I'll be right with you. Please don't go away. Stay with me. And all calls are welcome. I want to remind you about Legislative District 25 State Senator Jim Patrick. We are lucky, very lucky to have him as a senator in our state. He's a man that's been a lifelong farmer, understands agriculture, understands the issues of Idaho, and absolutely wants to keep on serving you. Jim Patrick, Legislative District 25 Senator, encouraging everyone to get out and vote on November 6th and understand and know the propositions and the people that are running. Please vote November 6th, paid for by Jim Patrick, District 25 Senator. And another good friend of ours, Legislative District 27 State Representative Fred Wood. I absolutely enjoy visiting with Fred. He's a man that understands the issues. He's a man that doesn't make rash decisions. He's a man that really studies and makes sure that everything is straight above board, and you have to respect that. He's a retired physician, lifetime member of the NRA, and he's been serving us in District 27 as a state representative. And he also urges you to go vote November 6th. Know everybody and know the propositions, paid for by District 27 Representative Fred Wood. Caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. It's working perfect for the Democrats, they think. But it is my belief that the Democrats are responsible for this to make the Republicans look real bad just before the election.
Okay, now wait a minute, Keith. I'm not saying I disagree with you at all. But there again, I deal in facts on this program. I will not allow speculation, and what you're saying is pure speculation.
Well, it hasn't been proven, but it will be.
You think so?
I believe with all my heart that the Democrats have instrumented this thing to blame the Republicans at the last minute.
I am not above, and believe me, Keith, I'm not chastising you, but I'm not above looking at all the facts as they're laid out on the table. And it's in relationship to a comment and a theme called the deep state here in America. When you start talking about these bombs, very scary. I certainly hope and pray no one is injured. When you start talking about the stock market taking a dive, when you start talking about the caravan coming up just prior to the election, I will agree with you that there's so much in the news right now that it's colored with a shaded pen, if you will, to the point where you have to scratch your head and say, why all of this now? But I caution you not to point fingers and say or lay any blame to anyone or any group until you have the facts.
Well, why is it fair for George Scarborough to point at the president?
It's not. But wait a minute. Just because somebody goes out and steals all the cherries doesn't mean that you should go find a cherry tree and steal all the cherries too. What I'm saying is Joe Scarborough from MSNBC is an idiot. He's an idiot. And quite frankly, he should have never shot his mouth off in the position that he holds in the news media. But that doesn't make us right to go out and make accusations that are unfounded because of an idiot saying something.
You're absolutely right. But in my mind, I have my own thoughts, I guess. I guess I shouldn't try to influence others with my thoughts.
Well, no,
Believe.
I'm not saying you shouldn't try to influence people, but right now, speculation is absolutely unwarranted. I've called everybody in New York City and Washington, D.C. that I know this morning, and they're as much of a shrug of the shoulder as I am. They don't know because none of the news, none of the investigation has yielded or wielded any names or any possible arrests up to this point. Now, it might be changing right now while I'm on the air. I don't know. But I will not speculate. I'm not going to point my finger at somebody and say they did this because or they're going to do something because I don't want to get into that.
I understand what you're saying. But none of these packages so far have been explosive.
That's right, and that's a blessing.
They're just the way to stir things up.
Well, when you talk about the word terrorism, Keith, when you talk about the word terrorism, that is this situation expanded. I mean, right now, whether there's 9, 10, 11, whatever packages that have been sent or laid on doorsteps or sent through various news agencies, whatever it might be, none of them have exploded. Now, I heard Dan Bongino early this morning at 4:30 say that either the person that perpetrates this is a complete idiot and buffoon and none of them are going to work, or he's getting what he wanted to do, and that's all the press because people are terrified as to how many more and will they blow up. So it's an act of terrorism whichever way you look at it.
That's certainly true. But, on the other hand, if somebody sent you a package like that, it'd scare the dickens out of you.
Well, yeah, that's my whole point. Naturally, it's terrorism. That's what it is. Absolutely. I've got another call waiting, and I've got to get everybody in this morning. Keith, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'll see you later.
I'll look forward to it at noon. Thank you very much. Caller, I'll be right there. Stoats Equipment Company, your John Deere dealer at 119 Overland in Burley. They do make your life easier. They make my life easier. I'll tell you, they've got the best of service personnel. I've never seen people that are so service-oriented as the folks at Stoats Equipment Company. Let them serve you. Don't forget they have a Stoats Equipment Ag Minutes on Tuesdays at 9:46. Your John Deere dealer, Stoats Equipment Company. Also, real quick, before I take this next call, I want to remind everybody about our friends. I'm going to be over there this afternoon, as a matter of fact, at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. The number to call, 678-1191. Now, they can help you get back to being you, whether you're recouping from a surgery, an accident, high school football player, everybody was going south and you were going north, bang, and you got bumps and bruises. Believe me, Nick Greenwell and all the physical therapists, they can help get you back to being you. Call the number, make an appointment, 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Caller, thank you for your patience. Go ahead, please.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. Personally, I think this whole thing is a charade. It just happened pretty close to voting time, and I think this is a sympathy getter for the Democratic Party, and nobody's going to get injured over this. That's just my personal feeling.
Well, again, Tony, you're a dear friend just like Keith. I don't want to have any speculation. We don't know. We don't know. But I guarantee you this, that when the facts are found out, and the persons or personality is found out as to who did and perpetrated this, I'll hammer them so hard on my program, and I'm sure many others will in the same vein of having a talk show. We've got to come out. We've got to stop this foolishness. We've got to stop this finger pointing. We've got to stop this blame game. It's not helping anybody till the facts are in.
Oh, that's right, but it just seems kind of strange it happened this close to the Tuesday vote.
Oh, I could not agree with you more. I've said the same thing a few moments ago that, man, when you start talking about the deep state and how people are in control behind the scenes, whether it's the stock market, whether it's this absolutely ugly, stupid caravan coming up from Central America, or now these bombs, it just doesn't fall into the natural chain of events. Everything is happening right before the election. I agree with you, but I'm not going to go down that trail until I find out the who, the what, the where, and the why.
Oh, that's right. This is just a confusing thing that's happened. Nobody knows what's going on.
I agree.
They probably will maybe for another couple of months.
If I was the owner of a company right now this morning, or the head of the organizations of the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, I would send out an edict that would simply say, keep your mouth shut until we find out the facts.
That's right. There's just a lot of speculation out there, and there's just a lot of thinking going on in people's minds about, nobody's gotten hurt. I don't think they're going to.
I hope not. I pray not. Tony, God bless you, man. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right, sir. We'll have more calls in just a minute. I want to remind you, too, about our friend, and he is our friend, a District 27 State Representative and Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke. It's a busy time of the year for old Scott. He's up gathering cows right now, and he wants you to remember to go vote on November 6th. Absolutely. We've got Prop 1 and Prop 2, a lot of good people. Also, the gubernatorial election, and he urges you to vote for Brad Little for governor. Scott Bedke, of course, Speaker of the House since 2012, knows what he's talking about, and he wants you to go vote November 6th. Paid for by Scott Bedke, District 27 Representative. We also want to remind you, too, about our friends with Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, offering service you can trust, along with Lennox products. Now, remember, Ramsey Heating and Electric offering up to $1,600 in rebates on qualifying equipment purchases. Call them today at 678-0459. Yep, you better do it right now. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Over 6 decades of serving you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. This entire situation this morning, all of this garbage, the bomb threats and the caravan, the stock market, the Kavanaugh mess, everything. I agree with my callers. It's too coincidental. But again, we can't point our fingers in condemnation or with affirmation that we know anything about who really did this. Caller, I'm going to ask you the same favor. If you'd stay with me just a moment, I want to remind everybody about Legislative District 27 State Senator, a friend of ours, Kelly Anthon. He is very honored and proud to represent the Mini-Cassia area, and he stands up for conservative principles and voting to protect Idaho values, and also protecting agriculture, the lifeblood of our great state. Don't forget, Kelly Anthon wants you to go to the polls on November 6th and vote. And again, Propositions 1 and 2 very important, as are the people that are on the ballots. Please get out and vote November 6th, paid for by District 27 Senator Kelly Anthon. Caller, good morning and thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you, Mr. Bell, for taking my call. This is Shelley Holy calling. First of all, I want to say that you, as a radio talk show host, the manager of your station, and the law God puts on your personal heart, I know it's important for you to follow that law that God has put on your heart. Do not speculate. But I thank you, Mr. Bell, for allowing us callers to have the freedom of speech on your air to speculate. I would like to say, on behalf of Keith and Tony, I just turned on the radio just a moment ago, right before Keith called in, and I wanted to say the same thing that these two gentlemen have just shared, and I would like to reiterate and just share my little way of expressing things. And please allow me to speculate and have this freedom of speech, and I want to thank you for this time.
Yeah, I know, but Shelley, really hurry, because I've got to get a lot of things in. Hurry.
I'll try to be quick. We cannot pinpoint any individual at this point, but it is definitely timely on the Democrats' part to whoever's the one that's a catalyst to do this. And I would say it's interesting that all the people that have been targeted are Democrats, and George Soros has been, and I think it would not surprise me if it finds out if he's the one who did this and have it planned to have it all harmless bombs, to have them all planted.
Okay, I'm gonna have to interrupt you there, because I'm not going to go down that trail. I'm not going to go down that trail. I believe in the freedom of speech, Shelley, but I'm not going to make insinuations on any accusations. So thank you for your call, but I'm not going to go there this morning. I'm not going to lay the blame at the feet of anyone until it's been proven. I just can't allow that. I'm sorry. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Don't forget, Barry Equipment and Rental. Absolutely. Barry Equipment and Rental, a sales, service, and parts at 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, or the Twin Falls address at 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Nampa location. Do not forget the very best of all the equipment needs, whether you're buying equipment or equipment rentals. They've got them all. They've got all the Bobcats, too. I want to stress that. They've got all the Bobcats in all shapes and sizes, whether you need to get into those stalls in the barn and clean them out, or whether you need some outside good work. They've got all the sizes and shapes, and 0% interest right now, up to 60 months on the Bobcats. So check it out today. Barry Equipment and Rental in Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. There are a lot of things and issues and thoughts that I would like to expand upon this morning. Just like you. But I don't want to get into a naming of someone and or some group without having any bona fide proof. That doesn't solve anything for anybody. You know, what good is it going to do to make an accusation or a supposition and then find out later, oops? We've had too many oops. And I, for one, I'm sick of it on both sides of the aisle, Republican and Democrat. Too many oops. Caller, I'll be right there. Please stay with me. I want to remind everybody, too, about Ark Animal Hospital. They do a wonderful job for your pets. They do a wonderful job for your dairy, cattle, your horses. In other words, it's a mixed animal practice, meaning big or small. They love them and take care of them all at Ark Animal Hospital, 750 21st Street, near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn. Now, Dr. Bill, Dr. Jordan, and the entire staff, they know that you're really concerned about your animals' health. So please don't put it off. Give them a call, make an appointment, take them on in. Ark Animal Hospital, 678-1177, where they have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning, Zeb. Well, the Democrat agenda is basically using Saul Alinsky, who was a communist, wrote the book Rules for Radicals, and he dedicated that to Lucifer or Satan. And, of course, Hillary did her thesis on Alinsky, and Barack Obama referred to him many times. And so you kind of realize that they point out there's three main things where they will try to polarize the people, rich versus poor, black versus white, and we've certainly seen that. Then they demonize anybody that opposes them, and boy, we've seen plenty of that in the last, ever since Trump was nominated or even before.
Okay, but wait a minute, Adrian, wait a minute. What's your point, though? I mean, I don't want you to fall into the same trap of pointing your finger at anybody until we know the facts, and I don't think you really want to go there.
I'm not talking about the bombings. I'm talking about the Democratic agenda.
Okay.
The Democratic agenda has fallen the rules for radicals of Saul Alinsky. And the third point is that they will lie, cheat, steal, and even remember what Schumer said? We will do everything we can to keep Kavanaugh from being nominated as Supreme Court Justice. And they did just about do everything they could. And they brought in a gal that had no credibility, and that's been proven. And so, no, I'm not talking about the recent bombings, although I will make this comment. As soon as it was found out that another bomber was tied to Bernie Sanders, the media said, we can't really tie him to Bernie Sanders any more than you can now. They're accusing Trump without any evidence.
Okay, now I'm going to draw the line here. It's my program. I'll draw the line if I want to. I'm not going to get into this anymore as far as insinuations or allegations, and you have kind of crossed over that way. What I'm going to say is this. When I look at politics today, Adrian, I look at a full trash can where you can't even put the lid on it because it's running over. And that's on both sides of the... Wait a minute. On both sides of the aisle, Democrat and Republican. We've got to clean up our act as Americans. I am sick and tired of the divisions. I'm sick and tired of the hyphenated Americans, black Americans, African Americans, Hispanic Americans. Baloney. If you're a citizen in this country, you're an American, and I'm not going to honor any more of that foolishness. But we've got to come together as a country. This kind of garbage of bombs and people going to cross our borders and break the law, it's got to stop. It's got to stop right now.
Well, we need to get back to what I've said many times on your program. We got to get back to the Constitution. Article 4, Section 4 says that our elected officials, both federal and state and local, take an oath to uphold that Constitution there to protect us against invasion. And when you study that out, they didn't mean just invasion of a standing army. They meant an invasion of people, and that's what we're having. We're having these people invade our country, and they come in here. They don't want to send us. They just want help.
No, I agree with you that we are suffering from an invasion right now. I agree with you that it needs to be stopped before it gets to our border. It has to stop. There is no more of this thuggery, and that's what it is, thuggery, of people that are illegal aliens demanding to come into my country where I'm a taxpayer and reside here on my nickel. Ain't going to happen as far as I'm concerned. Adrian, I've got more calls stacked up. Thank you so much for your thoughts.
I understand. Well, that's the truth. It's costing us billions of dollars every year to take care of a league. They get first in line on medical treatment and all this, and they won't assimilate, most of them.
That's right.
They're bringing into all kinds of diseases and everything else. We need to get back to our Constitution. That's what we really need.
All right, my friend. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. You're going to get a little hot under the collar when you discuss this today because, quite frankly, we don't know what's going on yet. Caller, I'm going to ask you to stay there for just a moment. I'll get right with you. Don't go away. Big sale coming up this Saturday at Four Brothers Inventory Reduction Auction managed by Bennett Boys Auction Service. It's located a little bit north of Shoshone, and I'll tell you where. You go to Johnny's Country Store, go west 4 miles, parking in the field. This is a big sale. I'm telling you, a dandy good sale for equipment. They're going to have a lot of loaders, lots of tractors, trucks, even a fire truck, pickups, livestock items, farm equipment, ATVs. This is an inventory reduction sale of Four Brothers over north of Shoshone. Don't miss it. Managed by Bennett Boys Auction Service. Watch for the signs. Lunch by the Cook Shack starts at exactly 10 a.m. on Saturday. Managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. The Baxter Inn from the Yummy Man at Senior Junction on South Overland and Burley. We're going to have a breakfast menu, pancakes, egg, bacon, sausage, fruit, and probably a yummy biscuit.
A yummy biscuit. Oh, we've expanded our horizons.
That's right. I want to invite everybody to come on out, and anybody needs a meal to go, just call before noon. Otherwise, we serve from 12 to 1.
Joe, you have been a great spokesperson for the Senior Junction on Overland for their outstanding meals. Thank you so much, and being this is the last day of my work week, God bless, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, thank you.
You bet, Joe Taylor. Thank you. Thank you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Miss Bell. It's me again, Shelley.
Oh, okay.
I thank you again humbly for allowing me to speak a few more words. I want to ask you one thing. Do you agree with our rights as freedom of speech?
Well, naturally, I agree in freedom of speech, Shelley, but whoa, you asked me, no, wait a minute, you asked me a question. Let me answer the question. I believe in free speech, but when you're making free speech, let's make sure that it is honest and it's appraised of the facts, and you're not going to just spew hatred, and that's something I'm not going to allow on my program.
Well, that's it. We have to be careful not to shut people's mouths, not to allow them to have a voice about whatever, so we can all make our own decisions about whatever people say, even if they speculate. We have a right in our freedom of speech to speculate even, and to see what we, I understand you are under a lot of pressure by outside forces, and don't live in fear, Mr. Bell. I'm keeping you in my prayers.
Well, I appreciate that, Shelley, but wait a minute. I've always said on this program, I'm going to interrupt you here because I'm a little upset about that statement. I've always said on my program that I deal in facts, not speculation, not rumors, or anything else. Every single story I put on my program, I verify once or twice or three times maybe to make sure the facts are correct. But to speculate and point my finger and say, oh, the Democrats did this, or so-and-so did that, I'm not going to do that, and that's not a form of free speech. That is almost putting the hangman's noose over somebody's neck before you know the truth. I'm not going to allow that on my program.
Bill, I understand what you're saying. That is a rule that you need to follow as the boss of your radio station. But us as callers, if we're not allowed to...
No, that's wrong. That's wrong, because on my program, I'm not going to have the caller distort my values. That's not going to happen. I run by my values, nobody else's, and I won't have my values distorted. Thank you very much for your call. I appreciate it. Let's not forget our friends at Dino Septic Service, and they're located, of course, over in the Rupert area, and they've expanded their business to better serve all the Magic Valley. Don't forget, septic tanks, pumps, septic tanks and drain fields installed, backhoe services, septic inspections, liquid waste removal, all of that and more from Dino Septic Service. The number to call, 436-6526, or in Burley, 678-1638. Don't forget, they've got that big truck that says smells cargo on the way. Dino Septic Service, serving you. Caller, I'll take your call before I go to the weather forecast. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I went to that thing at the Burley Theater last night, and we had a whole lot more investigative reporting and a lot less just jump in there and throw whatever around. I think we'd have 95% of the problems in the country solved.
I agree with you. Now, at the last minute last night, and I'm going to ask you to give me a short answer on this because I am late, but at the last minute last night, I had people come by my home, and I did not make it over to that viewing of that documentary. Please give me a quick thumbnail sketch. How was it?
It was really good, and it was so informative. The news media...
I need you to speak up, ma'am. I can barely hear you. Please, louder.
Okay, well, the news media, it was really good, and the news media didn't, they never even tried to see the side of the ranchers. They didn't investigate anything. They just took the word of the FBI, and like she said last night, it was the FBI investigating the FBI at this trial of that FBI agent.
Right.
And it's to say, well, yeah, it's just, we got the same thing going on in Washington. It's the FBI, it's the left hand investigating the left hand, you know.
Yeah, and I absolutely, one of the questions that still remains to me is, they were traveling down the road in an automobile to go to a speech. They weren't doing anything wrong. They weren't offending anybody. They were not breaking any laws, any speed limits. And for a man to die after the police had set up a dragnet stoppage, if you would, of their vehicles, I highly question why that had to happen.
Exactly. Like I told her last night, I went up that road about 3 days later in my truck, and it was at night. And even in the daylight, I went up there again later in the daylight. That was an ambush. No, 100% that was an ambush.
Yeah.
And she said they had 2 airplanes above.
Yeah.
Photoing this move, making a movie of what was going on down there. We only heard of one.
Well, I absolutely think there's a lot of questions to be answered deservedly, and I'm going to get more into that story next week a little bit more. Thank you so much for your call.
You're welcome.
All right, God bless. Thank you. Caller, I've got to get on the weather real quick. I'll be right with you. Do not leave, please. The weather brought to us by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and they are right behind the Minidoka Hospital across from the emergency room. They've just welcomed a brand new audiologist by the name of Dr. Shane Hunsaker, and joining Dr. Pickup and Dr. Mitchell to serve you with your hearing health at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Please call the number, make an appointment. They help me, they can help you. 312-0957. I'll be back right after this word, or the weather from Gina, I should say.
Another beautiful day here in the Valley as we are making our way through the work week. Here's a look at your weather forecast for Zevith Ranch. Expecting sunny skies for today, a little on the breezy side, winds out of the west, right around 10 miles an hour. We could expect gusts as high as 23 miles an hour, high of 61 is what we're looking at for today. Tonight, mostly clear. The winds are going to be dying down, low of 40. Tomorrow, another gorgeous one, sunny skies, expecting a high of 68 with an overnight low of 44. Sunny and 66 for Saturday, back up to 68 for Sunday. And as we go back to week on Monday, clouds are going to be rolling in, and we're expecting a high of 55. That's a look at your weather for Zevith Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. And the weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And believe me, they're very pleased to have the top-notch professional people serving you for your hearing health. You be sure to make an appointment today. 312-0957, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Caller, you've been waiting patiently. Good morning. You're on the air.
Gladly. Yeah, one thing that we do know for sure, and the pictures I have seen of that one package, is the stamps weren't canceled.
Yep.
There's not enough postage to send it.
Mm-hmm.
The timer is a calendar and a timer without an alarm system.
Right.
The photo I'm seeing, too, it's right next to a Clorox bottle of handy wipes.
Yes.
Makes it awfully odd why that Clorox bottle of handy wipes is in there.
You know, and Doug, right there, what you're saying is exactly where we should be on this issue, and not speculating or finger pointing. You're talking about facts. The stamps on the packages were not canceled, so evidently it did not go through a postal authority, and the person that delivered this made it look like it had already gone through by putting numerous stamps on the outside of the package. There were misspellings of the names. Let's talk about facts, and then let's go get the guy or guys that did this.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And where it's, oh shoot, I just lost my train of thought there, but it's off, it doesn't pass a smell test.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not speculating, I'm just saying it doesn't pass the smell test. It's something that's underhanded where they're all delivered at the same time.
Yeah. And here's the other issue. Look at the distances. And I tend to think it's more than one person, and I'll tell you why. Because in Florida, Debbie Wasserman Schultz received a package. Now they're way up in Delaware to Joe Biden's residence, and in between, all the way to Robert De Niro's restaurant. How is one person going to cover all that with the same kind of, sort of delivery time?
It's not. It's not one person. It can't be. There is a scheme, and somebody's perpetrated it. And think about this. It's sent to former President Obama, former President Clinton, Vice President Joe Biden,
right,
who have Secret Service who do not open up their own packages.
Yeah. That's one point that needs to be made and elaborated, is that these people, whether it's Bill Clinton or, like you said, Barack Obama, et cetera, due to the fact that there's a bunch of weirdos and crazies in this world, ever since they threw their hat in the ring to be a top-notch political candidate for president, whatever, they've had the best of security, and it's kind of like in the days of Rome when the emperor said, here, you taste this first because it might be poison. That's exactly what goes on.
Exactly right. So it doesn't pass my smell test, and my wife said it best last night when she said, I think it's an inside job.
Well, the whole thing boils down to speculation again, though, Doug. If we're going to speculate, okay, the lady that called a little bit ago upset me a little bit, because if I don't want a speculation, I deal in facts. You and I both know that every story I put on are factual, right?
Yes.
But if I let my audience come out with these way out in outer space attitudes, it's a reflection back on me as the host, and I'm not going to allow that.
I don't blame you right there. Everybody has their opinion, and they have a right to voice it, but if they're going to voice it, then they need to pay for a program so they can voice it.
Yeah. And I when the facts come out, and we know A, B, C, D all the way through Z, you can bet your bippy, my dear buddy, there's going to be a lot of hammering on this microphone from me. Whether it's a Democrat, whether it's a Republican, whether it's a far-out weirdo that absolutely wants to cause all kinds of contempt and malicious actions in this country, we're going to go after them. But how dare anybody from either party point their finger and say, you're responsible? You can't do that.
Yeah, and look who's pointing their finger out in the media.
Yeah.
They're doing the pointing at the president. And where was the coverage and the call for gun reform when Scalise was shot on the softball field?
I watched him this morning on television, and there's a man that literally almost gave his life for serving the American public. And I'm just absolutely enraged to think that this man was doing nothing except practicing for a baseball game and ends up being shot and almost killed. If that's where we are in this country, if that's where we're at that junction in our country, right or left, straight ahead, whatever, we better clean up our act fast, because chaos is looming on the horizon.
Exactly, buddy. Exactly. And you've got another caller waiting, so I'll take that.
All right, Doug.
And I'm going to also submit that petition to allow me to enter the contest.
I've looked at the picture, and quite frankly, it's unbelievable. Thank you, Doug. Appreciate it.
Hey, and everybody, let's do what you can for our seniors.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Caller number 2, I'll be right there. Wheels, I need this good word for Proposition 1.
It's an Idaho tradition going back generations, horse racing, and Proposition 1 will bring it back. Yes, on Proposition 1. It's all about Idaho, creating hundreds of local jobs, restoring millions of dollars to local classrooms, all with full transparency and real accountability. And the Idahoans sponsoring Prop 1 are doing even more, donating 100% of net profits from their horse racing operations to a new charitable foundation, the Treasure Valley Racing Foundation for Rural Idaho, dedicated to supporting education, scholarships, healthcare, and economic initiatives, serving rural families and communities all across our state, supporting programs like 4-H and FFA, and providing financial assistance to students pursuing degrees in areas like agriculture and animal science. Yes, on Proposition 1, the campaign with a heart for Idaho. Paid for by the Committee to Save Idaho Horse Racing, Create Jobs, and Fund Public Schools.
I agree with everything you said, ma'am, and thank you very much. I hope Proposition 1 does pass. Absolutely. Want to remind you about a great big fall tire sale going on at our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, all the tires, all the different tread designs, all the sizes, all all right there for you at all 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, along with the best in brake service, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries. But above all, service reigns supreme. They really take care of you, their customer, right there at all 7 locations. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I've got exactly 45 seconds, caller. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, my comment is that ladies that called about free speech. My opinion is their free speech ends the minute they start lying.
Very well done. Do you agree with me, because you've hosted this program in the past, I want to see if your attitude is the same as mine. I want to keep it where it's facts only, because anything else is said that is maybe far out theory, it's a reflection on me at the host, and I'm not going to go down that road.
Well, absolutely. Anything that we put out on the radio when we are hosting the show, everybody believes that that is the way it is.
Yep.
And if you're spewing out lies, such as what we're seeing in a lot of the media, I'm not going to say all, because not all of it is not true, but because they see that, a lot of people believe that.
That's right.
And we are sometimes the source of their news. And if we tell untruths and that goes out, then it becomes believed.
Amen. Amen. I've got to run to the news, but thank you for calling. God bless. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
News next from CBS. I'll be back in 7. Welcome back. Hour number 2. Wow, it was a hot potato there for a moment. Zeb at the Ranch. Don't forget, I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, especially right now with a great big fall tire sale going on. And, of course, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. We're going to have a couple of good words, and then we're going to go over to the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce. Stand by. Don't forget Legislative District 27 State Representative Fred Wood says, please go to the polls and vote on November 6th. It is extremely important this year, perhaps more so than ever before. That is November 6th. Go to the polls. Be aware and educated on Propositions 1 and 2 and all the people that are on the ballot. Be a knowledgeable voter and vote November 6th. Don't forget, Fred Wood, Legislative District 27 State Representative, paid for by District 27 Representative Fred Wood. Want to remind you, too, about our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox products that can help keep you comfortable and maybe save you money. Ramsey Heating and Electric offering up to $1,600 in rebates on qualifying equipment purchases. So call today and find out more. 678-0459. Ramsey Heating and Electric. And, of course, they're located at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Yep, over 60 years of service to you. One more quick note, and that's, of course, for a great idea. Kudos for a great idea. Holly Rowe at Mini-Cassia Hearts for Seniors. Mini-Cassia Hearts, and then the number 4, Seniors. 135 East 23rd Drive in Burley, and it's designed to help seniors that want to stay at home. They might need just a little help with their meal preparation or daily tasks, or maybe light housekeeping chores and jobs, or maybe make an errand or two. They're there to serve you. Mini-Cassia Hearts for Seniors, 135 East 23rd Drive in Burley. And that number, 312-5715. Okay, it's time. We're ready to rock and roll right over to the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce. And here's Sarah.
Good morning, Zeb. How are you today?
You know what? I got to be honest with you. I give you this introduction and everything, but in the back of my mind, I'm going, gee, I wish she'd hurry up so I can hear the groaner of the week.
I'm so glad you look forward to it.
I do. Go ahead and tell us all that's going on.
Oh, there's so much. I absolutely love autumn in our area. We have harvest. We have all the fun activities going on, so it's going to be a great one. First off, I would just like to thank everyone who participated in our voting for our 2019 Board of Directors. We just finished that up, so thank you so much. Here at the Chamber, we also have our Ambassadors Luncheon coming up November 7th. That is the second Wednesday of every month at Maury's Steakhouse right at noon. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about the Chamber, becoming an ambassador, come on over and talk to us, and we'll get you all set up. We do have our Member Monthly Luncheon coming up Thursday, November 8th as well. We will be in Minidoka County. We're just hashing out the details, so watch for more information about that as well. We do have a date finally for our annual installation banquet. That will be Thursday, January 24th. So we are accepting sponsorships for our list. We have a limited number of available table sponsors, event sponsors, title sponsors, and so on. So if you're interested in sponsoring our annual banquet, give us a call here at the Chamber. As for members, Boys and Girls Club of Magic Valley just opened their Rupert location, and we're going to have a ribbon cutting today over there. That's going to have it's going to start around 4 p.m. There will be a short presentation. They're going to have some refreshments, and you can kind of tour the building and see about some of the services and programs they offer. That's located at 323 First Street in Rupert, and the ribbon will be cut at 4:30 sharp. So we'd love to have you over there. Pomerelle Ski Swap is happening, and that's going to benefit the Pomerelle Ski Patrol. It's going to be at Idaho Water Sports at 2165 Overland Avenue in Burley. That starts today and goes through Saturday. So for all of you avid outdoor skiers and snowboarders, come on over and get all of your equipment updated. First American Title Company is still doing their Socktober through the end of the month. If you have any questions about this, it's about donating socks for children, specifically in our area. It's one of the most requested clothing items at homeless shelters, and it's a really small thing that you can do to help support our community. So if you have any questions, please contact First American Title Company in Burley at 417 North Overland Avenue or at 878-4772. And Zeb, I've got to tell you, I'm so excited that the Harry Potter experience starts today through Saturday, and my kids are so excited. We're going to go tonight, and we have our Gryffindor Quidditch team all ready to go. We will be in costume. It's going to be so much fun. I cannot wait to do it. That's located on the square in Rupert, and I think they may have sold out their tickets, so you'll have to call down there and see if there's anything left.
Hey, Sarah, what actually is that? I mean, I'm an old man that doesn't follow the Harry Potter movies or whatever. What exactly is going on there?
Oh, you are missing out. So the Harry Potter experience is so much fun. So the kids get a ticket, and they get to go around and visit places that are set up to look like places in the movies. They get to be sorted into their houses and get a scarf. They get to get a wand. They get to visit Honeyduke's candy shop. And it just kind of immerses them in the story of Harry Potter.
Oh,
so my kids absolutely love the stories, and they're great books and great movies, and so we're super excited to go participate in that tonight.
The lady that wrote the books, and I believe they're still continuing to write adaptations of new books and also films, J.K. Rowling, isn't that her name?
I believe so, yes.
She went from total obscurity as an average everyday housewife. Holy cow, is she a multi-millionaire?
Isn't that amazing? That just tells you it can come from anywhere.
Yes.
All right, so we also have Halloween coming up, and there are so many activities in our area for Halloween. But I did want to mention they're going to have a trunk or treat at Fabri-Cal, and we're going to be participating in this one. So if you want to come down and visit us, if you haven't seen us yet and got a chance to meet me, I would love to meet you. That'll be happening Wednesday, October 31st on Halloween from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Fabri-Cal. If you need any more information, you can contact us here at the Chamber, or if you're interested in participating, you can contact Nancy at Fabri-Cal, and their number is 677-1406. So we're almost past Halloween, and we're getting ready for Christmas and Thanksgiving. So they're going to have some activities up in Albion, and if you're looking for a place to do your corporate dinner or anything like that, contact Heather at the Albion Campus Retreat. She has some really great things coming up, and you can find more information about that on our website as well. Also, the Minidoka Memorial Hospital over in Rupert is going to be doing their Caring and Sharing 2018. That'll be November 23rd through the 26th. Again, more information on our website. And so that's one thing I did want to mention, that on our website are all of these events listed out with details and contact information and locations. There's even a little button that you can click on to add these events right to your calendar, and you can even submit your own events. So if you are participating in something or a volunteer on any holiday things that are coming up, feel free to come on over and submit those to our calendar. And while you're on our website, check out our business directory of all of our members. You can search by name or by category, and there's so much information on there to help you out. And we always welcome feedback about anything like that. And as always, you can always call us here at the Chamber. We're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can get a hold of us at 208-679-4793. Check us out on the web, www.minicasachamber.com.
You know, I'm going to tell you something. A lot of times when I have guests on the program, I will interrupt them to either make a point or elaborate on a point. And every time you're on the air, I always feel like if I try to interrupt, I'm going to get run over by a herd of cattle.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, give me the groaner, Sarah.
All right. Well, you know, it's almost Halloween, so we have to have a Halloween groaner. So, Zeb, I'm going to ask you, what song do vampires hate the most?
What songs?
What song do vampires hate the most?
Do You Light Up My Life?
Well, that's probably another good one. I was going to say You Are My Sunshine.
Oh, okay. Well, see, give me an A for effort on that one.
Oh, A for effort, absolutely.
Sarah, thank you so much. Over at the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce, you do a wonderful job. And, boy, I tell you, folks, if you have any questions, just give them a call. They can and they will help you. Sarah, thanks again.
Thanks, Zeb. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you much. Nice lady. Nice lady. Hey, listen, we've got a bunch of things to take care of here, and then we're going to go to our next segment momentarily. I want to remind everybody about Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert with Joel Heward, his family, and his staff. You know, they always provide the families they serve with the best possible support and comfort. And another thing, too, that needs to be said, always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. When there's the passing of a loved one, they're there to help. They're there to serve, and they absolutely will be a comfort to you. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. And don't forget Joel Heward also serving you at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. And there is a big sale going on that I need to talk about for a second or two, and that's the great big harvest sale that's going on over at Lee's Furniture, Floors and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Holy cow, listen to this. 40% off all furniture, mattresses, dining room sets, motion furniture, bedroom groups, and more. Listen to this. No money down, no interest, up to 48 months on approved credit. Wah duty. You better get in there today and see Jeff and the crew. All the great love seats and sofas and the sectionals and the dining room sets and the recliners. Woo! Get into Lee's Furniture, Floors and More harvest sale, 40% off. Lee's Furniture, Floors and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Right now, we're going to visit with more of the really nice, caring people at Cassia Regional Hospital, your friends and your neighbors. Wheels, if you would, please.
People caring about you and your health care in the most professional and progressive ways. That's Cassia Regional Hospital, located at 1501 Highland Avenue in Burley. In a moment, we'll introduce you to just one of the many dedicated medical experts serving you at Cassia Regional Hospital. Today's program, right after this. Cassia Regional Hospital provides you and your family excellent health care answers and services. They're right here, close to home. That's right. Cassia Regional Hospital offers the latest technological advances in medicine, like their new oncology programs and telehealth, which uses electronic information and telecommunications to promote long-distance patient and clinical health care. Your friends, your neighbors. Cassia Regional Hospital, 1501 Highland Avenue in Burley. Quality care, close to home. Visiting again with more of the great professional people, your friends and neighbors at Cassia Regional Hospital, and we have the clinic manager, Lillian Newey, on the phone with us. And this lady is really interesting and is going to talk a little bit about the primary care, etc., at Cassia Regional. Lillian, good morning, and give us a thumbnail sketch of a day in the life of Lillian Newey.
A day in the life of Lillian in primary care management. I am actually over 4 different clinics here at Cassia. We basically take care of all the primary care needs. So what that means is anytime that a patient needs to see their primary care physician, we coordinate and take care of that. So I am over Cassia Family Practice and OB. I'm over Cassia Family Medicine, Cassia Internal Medicine, and Cassia Family Practice and WorkMed. So that is 4 locations here at Cassia where we do primary care for patients before they're born till the end of life. So we just basically take care of all your chronic conditions, try to manage all of your care, just take care of everyone's basic needs. We do like to see patients at least once a year so that we could see where you are health-wise, make sure that everything is being maintained. Kind of like you take your car in for a checkup, you should be coming in for a checkup to make sure that everything is balancing and checking out.
I was going to ask you, Lillian, how in the world can one person, you, take care of all these different facets?
You know, it's actually a team effort. I have an absolutely extraordinary team. I work with 6 providers. They have several members of their team, and I am just the lead for them, making sure that we are taking care of all of our patients and that we are meeting not only their medical needs, but also that we are being good stewards of our assets and our team. So a day in my life is making sure that we're balancing, that we're taking care of our patients, that we have the right amount of staff, that we are making sure that we're not overspending, and just balancing everything out so that it is not an extra cost to our community. We would like to make sure that we keep those costs reduced for our community, and so we try to make sure that we're doing the best that we can with what we have.
Now, let me ask this, and I'm going to be a little naive on some of these questions in regards to your job and expertise, but someone would call and they'd say, I need to come in and see the doctor, or I need to have this evaluated, or I've got this new problem, and then you kind of pick up the ball and run with it from that point on. Am I wrong?
No, that is correct. So we actually have what we call frozen slots. So we know that our community will get sick overnight and have acute problems that need to be addressed. So our phones open at 8 o'clock, and we will work patients in if they see our physicians. Then from there, if we have things that are chronic that we need to maintain and check in more often, then we have what we call return office visits. And that's kind of how we balance our schedules. So our visits can be anywhere from 15 minutes to about 45 minutes, depending on the need of the patient.
Wow, a day in the life is sure sounding busy, but you say you have a lot of complementary staff assisting you. What basically do you want the patients out there in Magic Valley, and especially in the Cassia County area, what do you want them to know about your services?
I think, just making sure that we are partners in the healthcare. One of the things with primary care physicians is we want to make sure that we're partnering up with you, that you ask the questions that you're concerned about, that you feel comfortable in asking us those questions. If you think, let's say you're starting a new medication and you have side effects, or you have concerns, or you heard things, because we all hear those things. I have always loved visiting with patients, and then they tell me, well, I was prescribed this medication, but I've heard that it can cause these side effects. And those are things that we would like to hear and educate patients on. A lot of the time, people will hear things from other people and not ask us, and then they are fearful of taking care of themselves with the medications we give them. Our physicians are experts in making sure that whatever we're giving you, we're giving it to you for the right reasons. And they are great at listening and wanting to make sure that we're all on the same page. I think the biggest thing with primary care is making sure that we're engaged as patients and making sure that we're communicating with our physicians. It is a partnership in order for us to be healthy. So like I'm talking about, you going and fixing your car, you're going to go talk to the mechanic and ask questions about the tune-ups, and you're going to ask questions about, do I really need this brake service? Do I really need to have my oil changed? So those are the kind of questions that you prepare and you study for. You should be doing the same thing with your body, because it is an engine.
You know, when you say this, everybody should be nodding their head, because I've said for a long time that people need to be more in control of their health. They need to ask more poignant questions about the doctor, the services. They need to find out more about the medication, etc. They need to be more proactive. Am I wrong or right?
No, that is completely right. And in time, as I've learned to work with patients, the most successful patients are the ones that are asking those questions, the ones that are involved, the ones that are writing down questions. And we want you to come in with questions. We want to address the questions. And we may not be able to do it at our appointment, but our physicians are always willing to say, that is a great question. Let me have you come back. Or, I'm not entirely sure about the answer on that. Let me find out for you, and let me get back to you. One of the new initiatives that CASA Primary Care Clinics has started is we have now added what we call a care management team. And we know that our patients sometimes will be confused. So you've got the more complex cases. You've got chronic conditions, and you've got multiple medications. That is scary for a patient. And so we've got what we call our care management team that will help kind of bridge that gap for the patients, because we're going to have multiple referrals. You're going to have multiple questions about medications, and we have a nurse that's going to be meeting with our patients and can help them bridge that gap, can help them be an advocate for themselves. So that is a brand new service to CASA that we are excited to introduce. We are going to be focused on making sure that we are engaging our community and that our patients are feeling like they are being heard and that they have an advocate on their side.
Sounds like it's like a close-knit family, like everybody sitting around the Thanksgiving tables exchanging information, and that's exactly what medicine should be for the patient, you, the doctor, everybody to work on the same page like a team.
Correct. And, sometimes you're going to be the caregiver for those patients. I know that I've taken care of my own family members. So you as a caregiver should also engage. So if you have an individual in your family that's struggling through those health concerns, then you'll want to jump in. I'll give you a perfect example of how primary care clinics should work and our care management program works. I personally have a daughter who, at the age of 6, was being bounced around between primary children and her physician's office because they could not figure out what her illnesses were. And they started just kind of throwing out medications. And one of the medications was a very strong medication, and I was very concerned as a parent. Now, mind you, I work in the medical field, so I kind of knew the avenues and who to ask, and I was lucky in that sense. Well, the nice thing is I got into one of our very first primary care model homes in Salt Lake, and that physician partnered me up with my care manager. He immediately took the ball on all the referrals, was able to get coordination done with psychiatry, with my physician, with the audiologist, and with the school. Wow. And that ended up helping my child along the way where she was successful. And by the end of her treatment, she was able to graduate from a special education program and be able to function at a regular level in school.
Oh, my.
Now, that is something that speaks volumes of what we're trying to do. This is not a new concept for Intermountain, but it is new to CASA, and we are so excited to bring it over to our clinics so that our community can have that resource.
This is a wonderful lady, and Lillian, real quick, I'm almost out of time. How can people best contact you at CASA Regional Hospital?
Patients and anyone in the community is welcome to give me a call at my direct extension. My number here is 208-677-6215, and I'm happy to go ahead and get you into any of our clinics with any of our providers, and all of our primary care physicians are part of that care management team now.
One more of the great people, your friends and neighbors at CASA Regional Hospital, Lillian Newey, clinic manager. Thank you for being on the program this morning.
No problem. Thanks.
Thank you. Tune in every Thursday at 9:18 right here on Zeb at the Ranch for more about the people and the healthcare services at your Cassia Regional Hospital, 1501 Highland Avenue in Burley. Quality care close to home.
Thank you. Excellent people over there, and I really enjoy that segment. Nice folks at your Cassia Regional Hospital. Don't forget again, absolutely, Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox offering service you can trust, along with the Lennox products. And don't forget, too, this fall, Ramsey Heating and Electric offering up to $1,600 in rebates on qualifying equipment purchases. So call today. Find out more. 678-0459. And Ramsey Heating and Electric with Lennox products, of course, at 2600 Oberland Avenue in Burley, over 6 decades of serving you. Want to remind you, too, in our list of all of our commercials here this morning, that Cameron and Siemens Insurance, wonderful professionals on Highway 24 over in Rupert, life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and so much more for you, your family, and your business. All you need to do is call, make an appointment, and they can serve you. 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Dedicated professionals, Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Wow, I'm looking forward to our conversation this morning much more than perhaps ever before, because we've got so much to take care of. A lovely lady that's on every Thursday. Good morning, Rita Ramsey. How are you?
Good morning. I'm real good. Thank you.
Rita, I'm not even sure how to start this. I made the comment a couple of times the first 2 hours of the program that right now, with all these bomb scares that are going on along the East Coast from Delaware down to Florida, all the different liberal Democrats that have had a supposed bomb delivered to their address, we don't need a bunch of hyperbole, and we don't need a bunch of finger pointing. We don't need a bunch of accusations until we find out the facts. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think that's really true. The big thing is that when something like that happens, that's exactly what you get. And the left is absolutely going bonkers over it, saying that Trump is the one who did it. So I don't know. It's really difficult to say, and I think that it's more their narrative that they're trying to get something going before Election Day, so people will start thinking, oh, maybe it was Trump who did it. So I don't know who did it or why. I have my suspicions. I doubt seriously that whoever it is right in the mind, but there have been a lot of people really hateful and out of their mind since the elections in 2016, so it could go anywhere.
Well, it could, but, man, I've prided myself on this program of always dealing and delegating the program with facts and not speculation. And for me or anybody on the air to say, well, so-and-so did this, that's the way I feel. You're making an accusatory remark that is basically unfounded and nothing but blown smoke. And I've got to be really careful on this. I think all of us do. Right now, there is so much hatred. There's so much animosity, and there's so much absolute chaos that's ready to jump off the bridge. I've never seen anything as precarious as our situation in this country as it is today. What are your thoughts?
No, I think you're right. And sometimes instead of saying, I think so-and-so did this, it does us well to maybe read some of the articles and say, well, this article was put out or this quote was made by, and some of that stuff, so that you get a little bit of that background. But still, and I think that the FBI will know probably before the weekend is over exactly who it is and what happened. The big question is, will the news media report it? Because if it isn't in their best interest, we may not hear hardly anything.
Well, Rita, what you said is so true. And this morning, on the front page of the Times News, a story from the Associated Press. And these are a couple of imbeciles that wrote this article. Michael Balsamo and Eric Tucker and Colleen Long. And I'm going to tell you why. In the middle of the second paragraph of this story, they said this, and I want you to pick up on this. The targets of the bombs were some of the figures most frequently criticized by President Donald Trump, who still assaults Clinton at rallies while supporters chant "lock her up," 2 years after he defeated her and she largely left the political scene. That is an absolutely juvenile and uneducated statement. Hillary Clinton has never left the political scene. She's been one of the people throwing wood on the fire. How in the world and why does the Associated Press and these three knotheads write an article that is so biased?
Well, it's just part of their narrative, and they're just trying to be on top of it. The thing of it is that they're Hillary supporters, or you might say just left supporters. There's all kinds of people out there saying that it's Trump this and Trump that, and they're just trying to push any kind of shadow against Hillary away from her and back someplace else. John Brennan, of all people, said this morning, on a tweet, he said, "Stop blaming others. Look in the mirror. Your inflammatory rhetoric, insults, lies, and encouragement of physical violence are disgraceful. Clean up your act and try to act presidential." So guess who he was blaming?
Yeah. That's why I'm saying halt, stop, cease and desist, everything until we know the facts. Now, there's a couple of ways of looking at this problem, and I'm sure that the way you study the news, you've probably already thought of this too. But the bomber or the supposed bomber or bombers, all of these packages being delivered not through the Postal Authority because there was no cancellation of the stamps, etc., from Delaware down to Florida, doesn't it intimate to you that there are more people than just one?
Oh, absolutely, and that tells you that it's orchestrated, and I guess I shouldn't make my accusation, but I think that it's probably not a far-right person.
I'm just really...
Whoever it is wants the attention to make it look like it's some right skinhead, somebody or the other, that's doing all this to these poor Democrat people that have been trashed by Trump.
Let me ask you this, and I'm dealing in this as a fact. The caravan is coming up from Central America. Supposedly, the numbers that have been given by the news media, 14,000 people. Now, we all realize that not all 14,000 are going to make the trek all the way to our U.S. border. I don't even care if it's 1,000. I don't want somebody from a foreign country, an illegal alien, poking the United States in the chest and saying, "We're coming in and you can't do a thing about it."
Well, that's just the way that it is, and they want to have those people come in. I had a little cartoon that was on my brother's Facebook, and it was a picture of Nancy Pelosi with her bug eyes, and it was saying, "We want open borders," and then down below it says, "'Cause Americans won't vote for us anymore."
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's happening, is they've got to let these people come in so that they can let them vote, because Americans are sick and tired of the way that things are going. The big problem is if Americans don't stand up and say no more, all we're doing is inviting a lot more expense, and the sovereignty of our country is going to be gone. We'll have multiculturalism, and our country will be really gone within just a few years. And people can say what they want, but you can look at the blueprint, which is over in Europe right now, of all of these countries who have multiculturalism, because they've let these refugees in that have just flooded in, and they're not assimilating, and they're not trying to make the country better. They're just there for the free stuff, and those countries have lost their identities almost completely.
Rita, the next wave is going to come. Venezuela supposedly, with some of the reports that have been given out yesterday and last night, is doing a lot of the funding to perpetrate these people to come up here and basically jam themselves across our borders. But, if we've got this wave of 14,000, let's say that maybe half only make it to the border, 7,000. Then there's another wave that's starting of maybe more numbers. I, as a citizen of this United States, a taxpayer, I'm sitting here going, wait a minute. Why should I pay my taxes? Why should I adhere to the rules that have been given to us as taxpayers and God-fearing citizens of this country when they're going to let these people in and reside here and I have to feed, clothe them, etc. on my dime when they're illegal aliens? And I'm saying, no, enough is enough.
Well, it is. And, I just had this conversation a little while ago with my nephew, and I said, if your well pump went out and you went next door to all of your neighbors, the ones on the east, the ones on the west, north and south, and a couple of others, and said, my well pump's gone out. I've got to have money to replace it. It's totally essential that I have that. Would your next door neighbors be willing to give you enough money to take care of that well pump?
Yeah.
Probably not, but guess what? We can have people that aren't here legal saying, well, it's your responsibility to feed me and clothe me and give me medical care because you're my neighbor.
What would
the difference? The difference is that they expect it, and people are willing to say, well, I guess it's okay for those guys, but not you. But that's what's happening, and it doesn't matter whether it's food, clothes, or your well pump. We're funding somebody else, and we shouldn't have to be doing it.
Right.
It's my responsibility to take care of my well pump.
But you and I and others are being demonized by the left, and there's many of those fruitcakes right here in southern Idaho. Oh, we're the richest country in the world, and how dare you turn those people back? How dare you not have the milk of human kindness and let them in? All they want is a better life. Wait a minute. How many is enough? How many is too many? How many are going to keep on coming and coming and coming into this country before all of us are overrun and the boat tips over?
Well, that's just it. And if Texas says, no, you're not coming in here, and I think that Texas will be, deflecting them quite a bit, they may head on over to the corridors for California. And if that many people go into California all at once, and they will, because they can get in, and Californians have so many sanctuary cities and so much free stuff, that will be the collapse of California, and it will be a lesson to be learned. The problem is that once they get here, we're going to be in big trouble, because you can't just turn them around or send them home after they're here, and they start heading someplace else.
Yeah, but let's talk a little bit about the border situation itself. And this is where any administration has their hands tied. The minute their foot or their hand touches U.S. soil, supposedly we have to let them in. What are we going to do? There's even talk this morning about how they want to now start thinking about organizing all their people to get on top of trains and just have the train storm through the border. And once they're here, they're going to jump off and we can't touch them. What is Donald Trump, our president, and this administration, what are they going to do?
Well, I think the only thing that they can do is bring the military in and put up roadblocks, because it is an invasion. And it is an invasion of our sovereignty and our freedom. And I don't know that that's any different than during wartime.
I agree with everything you're saying, and I'll even take it a step further. This invasion of our country by people that willfully and forcefully are saying, you can't stop us, we're coming in, it's no different than the Japanese in World War II or the Germans doing the same thing. I mean, we stopped them, and this has got to be stopped also.
Well, it does, and he's got to get the military there, and they've got to make sure that they don't let anybody through. My big fear is that they'll have opposition from Californians. I don't think that Texans will let them in. Arizona and New Mexico possibly, but their land is a lot more rugged, and so they don't have as many wide spots for them to actually get through. But I think they know that they can get in just easy as pie and get all the free stuff and everything else that they need if they go through California to start with.
You know, one thing that you said about Arizona, I can tell you this much, and by the way, our sympathies go out to you. You sound like you got a terrible cold. I'm sorry.
I've had a bad throat this week.
Oh, my. But I've talked to some of my friends that live down in Arizona, etc. And Rita, to be honest with you, they're scared right now. They have so many times had to get up in the morning, go out and repair their fences so their cattle don't drift back down across the border again into Mexico. They've had all the thefts. They've had all the people lurking in their garages. Some have had threats from these people that are going through illegal aliens. And right now they're scared that if the influx doesn't hit Texas, a lot of it will hit Arizona, and they're very worried right now.
Well, they should be, because they are going to be the target. The other thing is that, you know, the Nancy Pelosi's and some of our Congress people and just regular people who are seeming to sympathize with them and coming here, is that if you let those people, even a half a dozen or a dozen of them, onto those people's places, like through Nancy Pelosi's tight security, would she want them to stay, and would she be willing to say, okay, I'll throw out cots for you, and we'll bring you lunch and breakfast and dinner, and you can stay here till you can get on your feet and take care of yourself, and we'll drive you to all of the places to get all the sign-ups that you need for the free stuff and that kind of thing. Well, they're expecting these Arizona, Texas, or New Mexico and or California ranchers that own property right along the border to just let them come through and do whatever they want, and no repercussions, no worry. You just don't worry about it.
Yeah.
The part that's bad is that a majority, I would guess, of those people that are coming through there, we don't know if they're going to be good, bad, or otherwise. And so why would you want to let somebody just come in and totally trash your place and put up a resistance? If they're bad people, you might be the one that ends up, you know, dead.
Absolutely. I'm going to do a weather forecast, and then I want to come back and talk to you about one of our states, Florida. So we're going to go there in just a moment. Stand by, but right now I want to have the weather forecast brought to you by Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. The best in tax return preparation, tax planning, financial statement preparation, retirement planning. The list goes on and on. In the many ways they serve you, your family, and your business. Get a hold of them today with offices in Burley and Rupert. Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. Right now, here's the weather.
Another beautiful day here in the Valley as we are making our way through the work week. Here's a look at your weather forecast for Zevith Ranch. Expecting sunny skies for today, a little on the breezy side, winds out of the west, right around 10 miles an hour. We could expect gusts as high as 23 miles an hour. High of 61 is what we're looking at for today. Tonight, mostly clear. The winds are going to be dying down, low of 40. Tomorrow, another gorgeous one, sunny skies, expecting a high of 68 with an overnight low of 44. Sunny and 66 for Saturday, back up to 68 for Sunday. And as we go back to week on Monday, clouds are going to be rolling in, and we're expecting a high of 55. That's a look at your weather for Zevith Ranch.
Excellent. Thank you, Gina. Brought to everybody by Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. These are wonderful people that can help you if you're starting a business or maybe a partnership, business owners wanting to hire more employees and expand their business. All of these questions, they have the answers for. Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Rita, I am sure that you're aware of this story. What's going on in Florida? A run for the governor's race between Ron DeSantis, Republican, and an avowed socialist running on the Democratic Party ticket, Andrew Gillum. This is one of the most ridiculous things that I've heard of in a long time. Mr. Gillum has not been above board on a lot of the things that he has done prior to going into this election race. And the fact that he's such an avowed socialist and may win I'm really afraid about the populace of a big state, a big voting state of Florida. What are your thoughts?
Well, there's been a ton of money pumped in there, and it's letting the Democrats, rise as far as popularity and everything goes, because Florida typically has been a red state, and if they can, it's kind of turned purple, and so if they can get it to turn blue, that's just one of the big states that they have to make it so that they will be able to win all elections. And then they've only got Texas, and they turned California, which was a red state at one time. But if they could get Texas and they could get Florida, it would be over for anybody conservative.
Yeah.
And so this is what they're trying to do with Florida. I think that the governor candidate that's the Democrat, wasn't he like the mayor of Tallahassee?
Yeah, and the crime rate and all the other negativity that came up during his administration should be enough to have everybody not walk away but run away from him.
Well, you would think, and the part that's bad is that they've had an ongoing investigation for a number of years, not just in the last 6 months since he, started running for governor or anything, but they've had an ongoing investigation for a few years with him, and having, FBI agents undercover, seeing if he can be bribed and that type of thing, because there was so much corruption in his administration and in their city. And they're trying like heck to keep it under wraps so that nobody will know, and it won't be, no, that isn't really what happened, so that they can get to the election day. And I think this bomb thing has been a thing that's worked really well for those that are kind of under fire on the Democrat Party, because now there's something that's taken the stage on the news media, and they're not talking about the corruption with the governor candidate.
Yeah.
They're not talking about a number of other things, socialists and that type of thing. They're hoping that they can just get to Election Day and not have any coverage. And I think that's why the press is going, whoa, these pipe bombs, no matter where they came from, the press is really saying, hey, this is our October surprise that we're going to be able to keep the story looking at this instead of what's really happening, and making it maybe not so good for some of the Democrat candidates.
Well, let me ask you this. Final thought here. We got about 3 minutes left. What does it tell you, Rita? You're a student of politics, have been for a long time. What does it tell you that there would be this kind of acceptance in our country, the land of the free, home of the brave, with radical socialism trying to downplay and cast asunder capitalism and our freedoms in this country? What does it tell you about our education system? It must be really failing across the nation.
Well, it is, and this is what's really sad, and I've mentioned this before, is that a number of years ago, and I'm not just talking 10 years ago, I'm talking probably 30 years ago, maybe even 40, they stopped doing a lot of stuff. They don't teach American history like they used to. They don't teach the Constitution. They don't talk about socialism and communism in other countries. They make other countries look glorified. Venezuela is like one of the wonderful places. Well, they don't show you what Venezuela's like now, so that the kids right now have no idea what's going on. And by taking the history and that out of the classroom, for years, many Americans have no idea, because they won't learn it on their own. If they had, they would be totally opposed to it, and we wouldn't be going down this road. Absolutely.
Caller, I'm going to give you 15 seconds. I'm almost out of time. Real fast, go.
Well, I just talked to so many customers of mine that are from California, and they tell me that how terrible it has become. And you just can't understand it until you go down there and live in it. And I don't live there, and they says it's destroyed their state. I'll hang up.
Randy, you did that amazingly well. You were 18 seconds. God bless you, man. Rita, respond quickly, please.
No, he's absolutely right, and California is one of the most beautiful places with, the various different climates and types of terrain and stuff like that, they used to be one of the biggest places for trade and business, and all the business people put on their walking shoes and said, we're out of here.
Absolutely. I'm out of here, too. Rita, thank you. Take care. I hope you feel better next Thursday. God bless you for being on the show.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Rita Ramsey, and I always look forward to having her political commentary. Thank you. Right now, if you're hungry and starving to death, I know some great places to go, and I'm going to tell you about them. How about the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley? Listen to this. Pumpkin shakes, black raspberry shakes, red raspberry shakes. Those are good. Along with maybe a famous Farmer Brown burger, order fries, special sauce, or a fish sandwich. Oh, you're going to love that place. AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Well, how about Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley? One of the best places to get together with your friends for a morning coffee and maybe a breakfast burrito with scrambled eggs, bacon, and sausage. Ooh, cheese, onions, tomato sauce on a tortilla shell. Knock your boots off. Fantastic. All the food is great at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Well, let's move on over to Burgers Etc. 2 locations serving you. 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. They've got a different soup every day. Delicious. And ham and cheese combos after 3 p.m., only $4.99. And just those delicious huckleberry shakes at Burgers Etc. in Rupert and Burley. Well, let's talk about Steve-O's for a moment. At 290 South, 600 west of Heyburn. Food made the way you love it. Delicious buffalo burgers and the cheesy broccoli spuds. Great folks serving you a menu that's going to take you all day to decide because it all is great. Delicious. And they've got cupcakes too. All of this at Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 west of Heyburn. Food made the way you love it. And those are some great places to go if you're hungry and starving to death. Right now, Wheels, if you would please, could I have this good word for Proposition 1?
It's an Idaho tradition going back generations. Horse racing. And Proposition 1 will bring it back. Yes, on Proposition 1. It's all about Idaho, creating hundreds of local jobs, restoring millions of dollars to local classrooms, all with full transparency and real accountability. And the Idahoans sponsoring Prop 1 are doing even more, donating 100% of net profits from their horse racing operations to a new charitable foundation, the Treasure Valley Racing Foundation for Rural Idaho, dedicated to supporting education, scholarships, healthcare, and economic initiatives, serving rural families and communities all across our state, supporting programs like 4-H and FFA, and providing financial assistance to students pursuing degrees in areas like agriculture and animal science. Yes, on Proposition 1, the campaign with a heart for Idaho. Paid for by the Committee to Save Idaho Horse Racing, create jobs and fund public schools.
Thank you very much. And right now we're going to take a little break, 7 minutes. Be back in just a few minutes with more Zeb at the Ranch. Don't go away. Here we go down the home stretch, hour number 3 on a Thursday. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a good day. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with a great big fall tire sale going on right now. And also some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Wow, there is going to be a great big, and I mean this is one big sale coming up on Saturday, October 27th, managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. It's going to be the Four Brothers Inventory Reduction Auction going on in Shoshone, actually a little bit north from Johnny's Country Store. Go west for 4 miles, parking in the field. Oh my, lunch by the cook Cook Shack, and they better have lunch. This is going to be a big, big sale. Lots and lots of loaders and tractors and trucks and even a fire truck, pickups and livestock items and farm equipment, rototillers and everything, ATVs. My goodness, this is going to be a big one and a good one. Coming up at 10 o'clock Saturday morning, October 27th, and that is the Four Brothers Inventory Reduction Auction managed by Bennett Boys Auction Service. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, yep, they sell them all. Absolutely. Also want to remind you, too, about a wonderful lady that is running for re-election, actually, coming up on November 6th. We need to keep her values in the Idaho House of Representatives, seat 24B. Who am I talking about? Linda Wright Hartken. She's a compassionate conservative that believes in our Second Amendment and is pro-life, and above all, she has common sense. With Representative Linda Wright Hartken, we have a person that's a problem solver with integrity. Vote November 6th for Linda Wright Hartken for House Seat 24B. We need her values. Paid for by Elect Wright Hartken Committee, Rich Stivers, Chairman. Wow, it is time for one of my favorite segments. They've been with us on this program for a long, long time, and I'm talking about Cassia County School Days. And, of course, we're very thankful to our major sponsor of that segment, and that's A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. Oh, my goodness sakes, did you know that they keep getting new arrival of clothing all the time for the fall, the winter, and they've got all the clothes from newborn size to size 16. And all very reasonably priced. You better get in there today. And for those of us that want to really be comfortable, they've got all the Cherokee scrubs and the shoes, everything at A Child's World. 1308 Overland in Burley. You stop in and see those good people today. Yes, we're going to go to the phone line right now, and with us is the Cassia County Schools Communications Officer, the lovely Debbie Critchfield. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm good. Enjoying this beautiful fall weather that we're able to have.
Wow, it is one of the nicest falls. Oh, sure, we had a couple days of rain, but my goodness, when you look outside and you see the blue skies and the temperatures in the mid to higher 60s, greatest place in the world to live.
Agreed.
What are we going to talk about today?
Well, it seems a bit timely in light of the national news and some of these other things going on with just behaviors of people and so forth. And I want to just take a little bit of the time today, or all the time that we've got here, to talk about a pilot program that Cassia School District has activated just a few weeks ago. It's being funded through private donations, and it addresses the social emotional side of students. And it's a benefit for students, and we're calling it Connect, and we're hoping that we can connect students to help and to hope. And in a nutshell, it's a resource to help address a broad range of personal difficulties that kind of can cause stress and distress in the life of a student. And this program provides face-to-face counseling to help resolve concerns that may impact just family life, school life. It's essentially there to support families and to support students with some of their emotional needs.
Let me ask you this, and I certainly don't want to diminish anything. I want to always keep a positive note on everything we put on this program. But are there more stresses and more worries and more everything today as compared to 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago?
It sure seems like it, and whether that's we're better at identifying it than we were, I don't know, but in either case, schools, let me put it like this. Cassia is looking at doing something like this not because we want to take away parental rights and all of those things. This is an optional program to help support kids. But schools, in the meantime, are dealing with more and more behavioral issues, stress, anxiety, depression, suicidal ideations. Our vice principals and assistant principals tell us at our schools that they spend 50% of their time dealing with students who have all kinds of just life challenges and life crisis. And, of course, we've got counselors on site, and their workload has increased in the last few years. And, I mean, I guess another program we could talk about the whys, what's happening and why, what's producing this. But as we are looking at how to, ultimately we want to make students academically successful so that they have options to be, good citizens and contribute to society. In many cases, there are students that we're not able to do that until we address some of the other needs.
Yeah. I'm sitting here and I'm trying to equate when I was growing up, when I was in high school, and then with my kids in school and everything else, and I'm trying to figure out what happened to us as a society that all of a sudden there's more of a stress level, and let's be very blunt, there seems to be more of an inclination for suicides among teenagers, and I'm trying to put a finger on what happened or what is happening.
Well, I think we can point to the obvious contributors, which would be social media, technology, and certainly I'm not casting big shadows on those because they're useful in a lot of ways and can be positive. But we also see that with young people who have yet to fully develop emotionally and bodies are maturing, and then you add some of the other mental development that takes place as we're all growing up. These burdens can be they can be a lot more challenging and dangerous. And as our school board has made this a priority, this sort of healthy minds wellness approach for our students, they're also looking at it in light of how this becomes an aspect of overall school safety. There's only so many bars and metal detectors and, resource officers that we can have on that side for, to help our students. We do lots of trainings and so forth. But our board in our district would like to also take the approach that we look at some of the causes that lead students to be violent and aggressive.
Yeah. I'm sitting here listening really, I'm paying all the attention I can to everything you're saying. And I'm sitting here going, what can be done to alleviate or eliminate some of the reasons for stress, etc.? And I would come up with kind of the old Saturday Evening Post depictions on their covers of mom and dad sitting around the kitchen table. What did you do today, Susie? What about you, John? How'd football practice go? Or then on Sundays going to church together. And I honestly feel, and I'm not going to back up for anybody on this, I think church and family are two things that would really help solve a lot of this problem.
I don't disagree with that. I think that the family environments clearly contribute to stress and other factors that lead students to have some of these insecurities and issues. We're finding, and I think this is something that was surprising to me in some ways, that the face of some of these sort of life crisis, whether it's depression or suicidal thoughts or peer relationships, that we're finding students who fit that description that you just shared. Both parents at home, economically secure, popular at school, athletic on the football team, and yet they're dealing with anxieties and other issues that are beyond the coping skills, not only that they have at their young age, but that families are able to deal with. And so the board has taken about a year worth of just looking, listening, talking, analyzing, to say, all right, if we're serious about how we support students, we can't pretend that this doesn't come into our day. And so we got to this point of the pilot. We've got some schools that parents will be able to request. Basically, we're going to give you a phone number. We've partnered with an insurance company that is, their main purpose is for employee assistance programs, but we're tweaking that a little bit, and we'll say, if a mom or dad comes in or a counselor identifies a student, of course we always work through the parent at every step to say, here's a phone number. You might think about calling this number, and on the other end, a person's going to connect you with a licensed clinician in our county at no charge. We recognize that some of the barriers to getting help in some of these arenas, financial, of course, is one. There's also a huge stigma for a variety of reasons. Historically, we don't want to talk about, it's one thing if you've had a bad day, but if you're having a bad day every day or a lot, maybe you need to go talk to someone about that, and that's okay. So we're trying to remove a little bit of that as well.
Debbie, looking back again to my teenage years, which, boy, you got to look over your shoulder a long way to remember those. It's hard for kids to open up to adults or people in certain positions, whether it's a guidance counselor or whatever. What maybe new innovative ideas are there to get these kids to say, hey, I can go talk to so-and-so and be comfortable about it?
Well, one of the ways that we're trying to encourage this is just peer-to-peer. And I think, and it's not just kid-to-kid making someone, maybe feel less than because they're struggling, but adults like to, it's going to be okay, they'll snap out of it, or, well, they're a teenager, and that this kind of goes with the territory. And in a lot of cases, that's exactly right. And so, we look at issues that counselors deal with from anything from, hey, my boyfriend broke up with me and I'm really sad about it, and in a couple days I'm feeling better, to students who are thinking of taking their own life. Our counselors, we'll use Burley High School as an example. There's, 1,000 kids at Burley High School. There are 2 counselors there. They're not physically able to get to every student.
No.
And parents who need extended ongoing treatment from licensed clinicians may not know where to go either. And so this is a resource to say, we're really struggling, we don't know what to do anymore, and help us with our child. And then through that process, we hope that students will feel more comfortable acknowledging that, I had to go talk to somebody, and that's okay. For some reason, if a kid shows up to school on crutches with a broken leg, of course, no one says anything about it. Oh, I'm so sorry you've got a broken leg. But any type of mental health issues, then there's a lot of shame that accompanies those things.
Are there classes or some kind of seminars or assemblies, whatever, within the school system to let people know, whether they're teachers, whether they're part of the staff, or whether they're students, some of the warning signs to look for?
Yes, and we provide those trainings to our teachers every year. Those are ongoing professional development modules and presentations. We also work with our students to identify those things. And I think one of the gaps that we've realized prior to putting this program together was that we do a lot of this great talking. If you feel like this, you need to talk to someone. Or if, these things are happening, you need to talk to someone. Well, who is that someone exactly?
Yeah.
Many students, as you've already pointed out, aren't comfortable talking to a counselor, and a lot of them aren't comfortable talking to parents for the fear that they're letting their parent down, or they don't want to burden a parent, and they're embarrassed to talk to a kid. So we're trying to remove that barrier of, okay, we're trying to do a better job at having our teachers and kids themselves identify where the needs are. Now what do we do to help bridge that gap so that we can provide support on the other side? And we believe that this type of effort, district-wide effort, that we'll see a reduction in bullying, we'll see a reduction in behaviors and suspensions and discipline and all of those things as students are able to kind of address the issues that they bring with them to school.
It kind of goes back to the old buddy system, doesn't it? If you see something wrong with Jimmy and he's not acting right, please jump in and help Jimmy as much as you can.
Absolutely. And if we can, like I say, remove that stigma that goes with, you don't seem like yourself lately.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we have spent the last 2 years very intensively and outwardly try to teach our teachers and also our community is on the topic of suicide. That if you suspect that your child or someone that you know may have those tendencies, that it goes against some of the conventional thinking that you ask them. Asking them is not going to make them do it. It doesn't plant the idea. If you suspect it, you need to be very direct, and this is how our counselors are trained and our teachers are trained. Are you considering suicide? And from that answer, then you get help.
Absolutely.
And there's obviously a lot more to it, more than we can cover in this segment, but it's a serious problem.
And I would imagine, and I'm out of time, I wished I had more, but I would imagine by asking that very blunt question, there might also be a jarring of the senses to that person. Oh, my, they know what I might do, and it might create a need to get help by that person.
And what it does is what the research is showing is that it creates a connection that tells that person, I notice you, I care about you.
Yeah.
And the number 2 thing that we're trained to do is if someone has communicated that they are thinking about it, in addition to seeking help immediately, remove weapons from your house. That's another sign to that person that I'm going to make it hard for you to do this.
Yeah. Debbie, I wished I had more time.
Segment, but this is an important program, and I guess I would just say I would encourage people who have more questions or want to learn more about it to give me a call at our central office.
Absolutely. What's that number, by the way?
878-6600.
Debbie Critchfield, Cassia County Schools Communication Officer. I look forward to having you on the program. Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you. Debbie Critchfield. And, of course, Cassia County School Days brought to you by A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. You stop in and see those good people today. We're going to run over to Let's Ride in just a minute and have them on the air, but I want to remind everybody, too, we've got another sponsor we want to talk about. A lovely and affordable senior community right there in Burley, Idaho. It's called Syringa Plaza. It serves the low-income seniors who maintain an independent living status with or without assistance. You want to stay in a place where you've got other seniors you can visit with and have some fun with and talk about politics and the news. This is a great place. Absolutely. Let me tell you where they're located at 626 Elba Avenue in Burley, and the number 677-4204. Special bedroom apartments with carpeting and kitchens with electric ranges and refrigerators and ample community space to engage with all the other folks. Please call them today. Syringa Plaza at 677-4204. Running late. Here's my buddy Nick over at Let's Ride. Good morning, Nick. How are you?
Hey, sir.
Yes.
Nick isn't in the store right now. Yeah, I can go ahead and try his number.
Try it again, please. All right. And we're waiting to get a hold of Nick or Randy over at 436-4771. Let's Ride. And we wanted to visit with them for a few moments and find out all that's going on in preparation for snow season. So stand by for that. While I'm waiting to make sure that we get them on the air, don't forget we need to keep her values in the Idaho House of Representatives, seat 24B. Who am I talking about while I'm mentioning Linda Wright Hartkin? She's a compassionate conservative that believes in our Second Amendment and is pro-life, and above all, she has common sense. With Representative Linda Wright Hartkin, we have a person that is a problem solver with integrity. Vote November 6th for Linda Wright Hartkin for House Seat 24B. We need her values. Paid for by Elect Wright Hartkin Committee, Rich Stivers, Chairman. Do you have somebody on the line, Wheels? Do you have somebody on the line, Wheels?
I'm trying. All right. Well, I will let Zeb know, and maybe would you still be able to get on?
All right. Well, we're evidently having some problems trying to get them on the air this morning. And with that being said, it'll give me an opportunity to check and see about other events that are happening in the community. Now, tonight, at I believe about 5:30, Wheels, your mic is on, the 2018 Republican Bus Tour for the state candidates will be going through the area, and that is tonight. They will be in Rupert at the East Street Deli on the east side of the square from 5:30 to 6 p.m. Don't forget that. Go down there, ask them questions, and get the answers, please, with that Republican Bus Tour going through this evening. And then also we want to acknowledge that First American Title Company at 417 North Overland in Burley is having their annual sock drive for the month of October. That's right. All the sock donations, I'm talking about socks to put on your feet, will be given to the Mini-Cassia school districts for families in need. And anyone interested in donating can drop off donations at the First American Title Company office or call them at 878-4772. Yes, Wheels.
I was going to say, I have Nick on the phone.
Okay, Nick, the lost is found. How are you, sir?
I'm great, Zeb. I forgot all about that, and I'm in my truck. I pulled over. I'm safe.
All right. Well, by golly, I wanted to talk to everybody real quick about Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, and we have the owner with us on the program. Nick, it's almost snowmobile season. What kind of a great supply have you got over there?
Oh, we got tons of sleds ready to go, and everybody's got a little excited since we got a little snow on the hills. But, yeah, come by and check out the sleds. And we're actually having an open house November 2nd and 3rd, and probably going to have some food and door prizes and stuff, so come on by.
Now, along with all the snowmobiles, you know, I don't know how you get everything on that showroom floor, but we're talking all the ATVs and even motorcycles and snowmobiles. Wow. How do you keep such an inventory?
Well, it seems like we sell a lot, and they just keep shipping it, and so we keep stuffing it in there. And like I said, there's probably over 120 units on the floor. We've probably got more units than anybody in the Northwest on the floor right now.
Let's also, real quick, before I run out of time, Nick, I want to ask you about the accessories. When you say accessories, what basically are you talking about? Anything and everything for them to enjoy? Snow machines, ATVs, what? Explain that.
Yeah, if you can think of something, we probably got it, or we can get it. Plows, beacons, shovels, winches, anything, snow cans, turbos, anything you want. We can get accessories, put them on, install them, or you can install them. We can do it all. And we have snow bikes. We carry the Yeti snow bike, and that's the best in the world.
Okay, now, Nick, real quick about the service department. You've got some great people out there to keep them outside and really enjoying Idaho outdoors. Super service department.
All my guys are top-notch, and they've been with me forever since I've started. And they're all enthusiasts. They ride sleds. They ride bikes. They know how things work, and they are the best mechanics in the Northwest. I mean, they are great. I really appreciate them.
All right, and real quick, over at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, what are your hours that you're open?
We are open 9 to 6 Monday through Friday and 9 to 4 on Saturday.
You can turn the blinker off and head back on down the road, Nick. Let's Ride, where the fun is sold. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Seth.
All right, take care. There goes the dinger. He's headed down the road. Bye. All right, take care. Thank you. We're going to send it over to our studio right now, and we're going to have these words, and we'll be back in about 3 minutes. Thank you.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
And thank you very much. We're going to have our guest on for a short segment in just a moment after this good word for Proposition 1.
It's an Idaho tradition going back generations. Horse racing. And Proposition 1 will bring it back. Yes, on Proposition 1, it's all about Idaho, creating hundreds of local jobs, restoring millions of dollars to local classrooms, all with full transparency and real accountability. And the Idahoans sponsoring Prop 1 are doing even more, donating 100% of net profits from their horse racing operations to a new charitable foundation, the Treasure Valley Racing Foundation for Rural Idaho, dedicated to supporting education, scholarships, healthcare, and economic initiatives, serving rural families and communities all across our state, supporting programs like 4-H and FFA, and providing financial assistance to students pursuing degrees in areas like agriculture and animal science. Yes, on Proposition 1, the campaign with a heart for Idaho. Paid for by the Committee to Save Idaho Horse Racing, create jobs, and fund public schools.
Thank you very much. And right now we're going to get right into our last segment. There's going to be a very important meeting tonight at 7 p.m. at the College of Southern Idaho in the Taylor Building, room 276. And the discussion point of interest is going to be corruption inside the United Nations. And the guest speaker is going to be a man from Scotland, originally Peter Gallo, a qualified lawyer, admitted to practice in 3 countries, holds a master's degree in international criminal law. Peter Gallo is on the phone with us right now this morning. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm fine. How are you?
Well, I, for a long time, have said on my program that I wish we could tell the United Nations basically to pack their suitcases and head out of New York City and go elsewhere. I don't like the premise of the United Nations. I don't like what it's turned into. How wrong or right am I?
I think you're very right. Even for the people who believe that the UN was a good idea when it was set up in 1946, what it has turned into now is a completely different animal. And what I'll be talking about tonight is how the UN can actually be seen as part of the problem, not part of the solution.
When you say they're part of the problem and not the solution, what undercurrents or behind-the-scenes things about the United Nations are you the most afraid of?
I'm afraid of the fact that we have an organization which was set up to maintain peace and security in the world. It's not doing that. The mechanism that was set up in 1946 is no longer relevant. And worse than that, the information that we're getting out of the UN is slanted for political purposes, and we're not simply getting the facts. The organization is pursuing various policies, and you can view that in terms of, if you take a strategic look, is it possible that the UN is actually encouraging terrorism? Is it possible that the UN is actually encouraging and fostering the very wars and armed conflicts that we have 17 peacekeeping missions around the world today, supposedly to keep the peace? That is a complete and utter perversion and an inversion of what the organization was set up to do, and that's what concerns me.
When it comes to the cost factor, Mr. Gallo, please elaborate a little bit for my audience. It seems like the United States is bearing the brunt of a lot of the expenses over and above other countries. How wrong am I on that situation?
Oh, absolutely. The United States is paying 22% of the regular budget, 28% of the peacekeeping budget, right? So the basic contribution is $3.4 billion. Of taxpayers' money every year. The distribution of contributions, of course, is worked out very democratically on the basis of one country, one vote. So what has happened over the years is that the other countries, particularly the poorer countries, vote down their own contributions to leave a greater burden on the U.S. taxpayer. There's something like 50 countries in the world whose contribution to the United Nations is down at the minimum. Would you like to guess how much is the minimum contribution? Less than $50,000 a year.
Wow.
They're paying more for rent of their office space in New York than they are for membership of the UN.
Mr. Gallo, has the vote for Donald Trump in this country to be the president of the United States, has that basically been kind of a slap in the face to the United Nations on basically he's not going to take a lot of their guff and he's going to have people representing his administration that are going to set the United Nations straight to what he wants, not what they want?
He's certainly moving in that direction. I believe he's got the organization more frightened than it has been in a long while. Simply by restricting the budget, the UN at the moment is trying desperately to save money. It's something that they're actually institutionally incapable of doing. There's plans afoot to move a lot of the jobs, a lot of the posts out of Manhattan, which is obviously expensive, to cheaper areas of the world, like Budapest in Hungary and Mexico City. And the problem is that, surprise, surprise, nobody actually wants to give up their cushy, well-paid job in Manhattan to move to Mexico City.
Absolutely.
The pressure, the financial pressure which the president is applying, I believe, is very effective.
Let me ask you this. I got to wrap things up here, but this meeting tonight at the College of Southern Idaho in the Taylor Building, room 276, what basically is the theme of what you want to convey to the people that will be there this evening?
I worked for 4 years as an investigator in the office that was supposed to be investigating corruption, fraud, and abuse. And I'll tell you about that. I'll tell you how the UN is not actually investigating those things and the knock-on effect that that has. I mean, a lot of people come to me and complain, oh, but the railway company is corrupt or everything else. If your railway company is corrupt, your trains run a little bit late. Grow up, get used to it. If you have an organization where the compliance function is corrupt, that allows the rest of the organization to be corrupt. If you have corruption in peacekeeping, you've got to ask yourself, what is the effect of that? What is the UN failing to do? It's failing to keep the peace. People are dying. The organization of which I'm a director worked out the number of women and children raped or sexually abused by UN personnel in the 10 years in which Ban Ki-moon was Secretary General. It's 60,000. And how, in all good conscience, can we accept and tolerate that level of that kind of abuse?
Mr. Peter Gallo is going to be speaking tonight, Thursday night tonight, October 25th at 7 p.m. at CSI's Taylor Building, room 276, 315 Falls Avenue in Twin. I urge everybody to be there and hear this discussion about corruption inside the United Nations. Mr. Peter Gallo, I thank you for taking the time to come on my program this morning.
Thank you for having me, Zeb.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Very, very interesting topic tonight. I know it's going to be really good. Corruption inside the United Nations. And this man knows what he's talking about. Right now, I've got to know what I'm talking about and get the weather forecast on here real quick. And the weather brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. And you can go to their website, www.scarrowsmeats.com, or give them a call at 324-7657. Delicious meats. Oh, my goodness. All the marinated pork ribs and the tri-tips and the breakfast bacons and, of course, the breakfast sausages and the bratwurst. Oh, the list goes on and on. Scarrows Meats over in Jerome. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Another beautiful day here in the valley as we are making our way through the work week. Here's a look at your weather forecast for Zebeth Ranch. Expecting sunny skies for today, a little on the breezy side, winds out of the west, right around 10 miles an hour. We could expect gusts as high as 23 miles an hour. High of 61 is what we're looking at for today. Tonight, mostly clear. The winds are going to be dying down, low of 40. Tomorrow, another gorgeous one, sunny skies, expecting a high of 68 with an overnight low of 44. Sunny and 66 for Saturday, back up to 68 for Sunday. And as we go back to week on Monday, clouds are going to be rolling in, and we're expecting a high of 55. That's a look at your weather for Zebeth Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and Don Scarrow and the crew at Scarrows Meats. Say, come on over or give us a call at 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. Delicious Scarrows Meats, changing the way we eat one bite at a time. Absolutely. We're just about ready to wrap up the program for today because I'm going to get on the road right now and head for Lunch Bunch. It's our great big Halloween costume party. Our thanks again to Stoats Equipment Company, Lee's Furniture, and Tires West Les Schwab for the prizes for the outstanding costumes and masks. Also, gift certificates today from Walmart, Smith's Foods, Hanson Mortuary, Stokes Groceries, Doug Martin, and Denny's. All of this going on at Denny's in about 45 minutes. And, of course, that's America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant at 611 North Overland in Burley. Our major sponsor with a great big fall tire sale. Who are we talking about? Well, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best of car tires, pickup tires, SUV tires, trailer tires, name it, whatever you need tires for, they've got them. Absolutely, all the treads, designs, and the different sizes, etc. All you need to do is stop in. They can and will help you. And the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries. Got to have a good battery. Stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Center. presenters. Everybody come to Lunch Bunch. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to wrap it up for this week and put it in the box till next Monday at 8:06. Wheel's going to play a couple of songs, and then he's going to get his costume on and be over there at Lunch Bunch. Remember, the way things were are the way things ought to be, and the world needs more cowboys. We'll see you Monday at 8:06.